Did you know that workplace behavioral researchers recently found that the average professional loses over 2 entire hours of their day just switching between applications?
Oh, yeah. 2 whole hours.
Right, just recovering from interruptions.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever just stared at a blank screen for 20 minutes? Your mind is just entirely empty and you completely forget why you even opened the document.
I think we all have. I mean, daily, honestly.
Exactly. Or maybe you've had one of those days where your morning coffee gets like ice cold because a simple 5-minute question from a colleague just mutated into this massive 2-hour crisis.
If you are, nodding along to that right now, you are definitely not alone. We have all experienced that exact phenomenon.
Yeah, we really have.
And the interesting thing is there's a very specific linguistic and psychological reason why it actually happens.
Well, welcome to our English learning deep dive for daily life, real conversation, and easy listening practice. I'm so excited for this one.
Me too. It's such a relatable topic.
It really is. Today, we are taking a massive, incredibly practical journey into the language of the modern workday. Over the next hour, you're going to master exactly 6 crucial workplace vocabulary words.
6 magic words, right?
Yep. And you'll fix 5 very common English mistakes that, honestly, almost everyone makes. Plus, you'll discover exactly how to describe your day at work perfectly.
Precisely. And just to be clear about, who we are talking to today, this deep dive is specifically engineered for B1 and B2 English learners.
The people who really want to step up their game.
Exactly. Learners who are looking to seriously upgrade their daily communication. We want to elevate you past just saying, I was busy or work was good.
Right, because that gets a little boring, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But hey, if you consider yourself an A2 learner, do not panic.
Definitely don't panic.
You can absolutely use this as an excellent challenge. Don't worry about understanding every single grammatical nuance right away. Just, focus on the main ideas and the natural rhythms of the conversation.
And capture that core vocabulary. But here is the most important part. We want you actively participating.
Yes, learning a language is not a passive sport, right?
No, not at all. You can't just let the words wash over you while you stare out the window. We want you speaking out loud, actually repeating the phrases when we prompt you.
Really feel the mechanics of the language in your mouth. Learning happens through action.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it is widely believed by workplace language experts that the biggest barrier to sounding natural in a professional environment isn't a lack of intelligence.
Right, or lack of industry knowledge.
Exactly. It's actually a lack of the specific, nuanced vocabulary that native speakers deploy automatically.
And we are going to bridge that gap today. We've gathered some of the most insightful observations on workplace communication, and we're going to break them all down for you.
But, before we get to the 6 magic words and the 5 big mistakes, we need to talk about the morning.
Oh, the optimistic morning.
Yes. We need to examine why starting your day with a simple, optimistic to-do list might actually be setting a complete psychological trap for yourself.
It is the ultimate workplace tragedy. I mean, think about the sequence of events here. You arrive at your desk, the morning is fresh.
Your coffee is hot.
Exactly, the office is quiet.
Yeah.
You take out a pen and write down 3 clear, distinct tasks. It feels incredibly manageable.
Oh, your brain is just giving you a massive preemptive dopamine hit just for making the list.
Right. You feel like a productivity genius. You're sitting there thinking, today is the day I conquer the corporate world.
But then the tragedy strikes.
Always. One email comes in. Just one. And to answer that single email properly, you have to do 3 hidden subtasks.
You have to check a spreadsheet, message a vendor, review a contract.
Yeah. And then someone stops by your desk with one small question. And that question requires an impromptu meeting just to figure out the answer.
And of course, that meeting creates a follow-up meeting.
Naturally. And suddenly it's 3:00 p.m. The day is totally chaotic. Your beautiful 3-item list is buried under papers and your coffee is freezing cold.
It's so sad. But that phenomenon right there is the perfect gateway to our first major vocabulary focus for B2 and C1 expansion.
Which is?
The concept of your workload.
Oh, workload. Let's look at the mechanics of this word because I know it leads to one of the most common grammatical errors we hear from learners.
It really does. And the error comes from how we treat the word work in English.
Right. In the context of your job.
Exactly. In this context, work is an uncountable noun. You cannot count it like apples or chairs or books.
So you can't say, I have 1 work, 2 works.
No, never. Therefore, saying, I had many works today or I have a lot of works to do is grammatically incorrect.
It instantly flags you as a non-native speaker, right?
Yeah, because it breaks the fundamental rule of uncountable nouns.
I hear that constantly, though. I have so many works.
It makes perfect logical sense in many other languages, to be fair.
Oh, absolutely. In other languages, the word for tasks or projects is pluralized. But in English, it's a big red flag.
So you correct that mistake by shifting to the natural phrasing. Instead of saying many works, you use our keyword.
You say, I had a heavy workload today.
Yes. Or simply, I had a lot of work. The word workload refers to the total volume, the amount of work you are expected to complete in a specific period.
It's a beautifully descriptive word, too. I mean, think about the suffix load. A load is a physical weight you carry.
Like a heavy box of books.
Yeah, or a backpack full of rocks. So your workload is this invisible psychological box of tasks you're carrying on your shoulders all day.
That's a great visual. And because it's a load, we describe it using weight, not size.
Right, so we don't usually say a big workload or a small workload.
Exactly. Collocations, which are, the words that naturally go together in English, dictate that we use weight.
So we say heavy workload when you are burdened with too much to do.
And a light workload when things are easy, manageable, and maybe a bit slow.
So practically speaking, you might say to your manager, I can't take on this new project right now. I already have a very heavy workload this week.
Spot on. Or conversely, you could say to a colleague, my workload is pretty light this afternoon, so I can definitely help you audit that report.
Using those exact collocations instantly makes you sound like a seasoned professional.
It really does. But let's look deeper into that to-do list trap we mentioned. The workload itself, the actual number of tasks, isn't always the root problem.
Oh, what is the root problem then?
The problem is the psychological shift that happens to your perception of those tasks throughout the day.
Exactly. Because in the morning, that to-do list looks so friendly, it's just ink on paper.
Harmless.
But by the afternoon, as the workload gets heavier and heavier through all those interruptions, that list develops a demanding, aggressive personality.
It really does feel like it sits on your desk glaring at you.
Judging you for not making progress.
And the reason it feels so crushing isn't just the sheer volume. It is the invisible cognitive cost of switching between the tasks.
The switching is what kills you.
Exactly. Every single time you switch from typing an email to answering a chat message to reading a legal document, your brain is forced to perform a massive recalibration.
It's like a chef, right? A chef trying to bake a highly delicate cheese souffle.
Love this analogy.
But every 2 minutes, someone rings the doorbell and forces the chef to go sign for a package, talk to the mail carrier about the weather, and then run back to the kitchen.
The souffle collapses.
Totally. Your focus collapses. You aren't actually cooking at that point. You're just running back and forth.
In cognitive psychology, they actually call this context switching. When you switch tasks, your brain has to disengage from one set of rules, completely clear its working memory, and load a completely different set of rules.
And figure out where you left off, which is the hardest part.
Right. And research shows it can take over 20 minutes to regain your original state of deep focus after just a single interruption.
That is staggering. 20 minutes. You aren't actually working during those 20 minutes.
No, you are just spending raw mental energy trying to load the new program in your mind.
No wonder we are exhausted by 5 p.m. So let's lock in this vocabulary so our listeners can express this exhaustion perfectly.
Yes, let's build some muscle memory right now.
I want you to say this sentence out loud along with me. Don't just think it, actually speak it. Let's do it together. I had an incredibly heavy workload today.
Nice.
Hear how that flows. I had an incredibly heavy workload today.
And using incredibly as an adverb there adds that natural native-like emphasis. It really amplifies the weight of the load.
So if a heavy workload and constant context switching are destroying your focus like a ruined souffle, what is the primary culprit behind all these switches?
Well, we're exploring the ultimate productivity killer next, and this brings us to a rather uncomfortable truth about our own modern work habits.
Just a quick note before we dive into that uncomfortable truth, though. If you're enjoying this English listening practice, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel right now so you never miss a deep dive.
Yes, please do.
We are here to help you level up your English, and your support helps us keep doing exactly that.
Absolutely. Now, let's examine the primary culprit behind the collapsed souffle. The subtle, insidious art of getting distracted.
Notice I said the art of getting distracted.
Oh.
Because some of us, myself definitely included, are truly master artists at it.
We really are, and we love to blame external factors for it, don't we?
Oh, constantly. We blame the aggressive ping of phone notifications, the constant barrage of emails.
I'm the colleague who walks by. But if we analyze the modern knowledge worker closely, the strongest, most powerful distraction is entirely internal.
It is self-interruption.
Yes.
Oh, this hurts to admit. It's that bizarre feeling of walking into a room in your own brain and completely forgetting why you went in there.
Exactly. Let's define our B2 vocabulary word here carefully. The word is distracted.
Distracted.
Distracted means you are entirely unable to concentrate because something else is taking your attention away.
And taking up your attention is a fantastic, highly useful phrasal verb.
It really is. If a problem takes up your attention, it occupies the literal cognitive space in your mind.
Leaving zero room for your actual required work. Which leads to another very common, slightly clunky phrasing mistake learners make.
What's a mistake?
A learner might try to explain their bad day by saying, I was not focusing today, or I didn't have focus.
Right. And while a native speaker will absolutely understand you, it sounds a bit rigid.
Yeah, it's not wrong, but the much more natural, fluid way to express this internal chaos is to use our keyword as an adjective. You say, I felt completely distracted today.
Let's analyze the mechanics of that self-interruption you mentioned. How does this internal distraction actually manifest for you? Why does the brain seek it out?
Well, picture this entirely hypothetical scenario that definitely didn't happen to me yesterday.
Oh, I'm sure it was completely hypothetical.
Right. So I open a massive, highly important spreadsheet that I desperately need to audit. But as the document is loading, which takes maybe like 3 seconds, my brain feels a micro moment of boredom.
Just 3 seconds of silence.
Yes. So I think I should quickly check if the client replied to my email. I open my inbox. Sitting right there at the top is an industry newsletter with a catchy headline about a new AI tool.
And you click it?
Obviously, I click the newsletter. The newsletter links to a fascinating article about how AI is changing modern keyboards. I click the article.
A tale as old as time.
30 minutes later, I am reading a Wikipedia page about the history of the typewriter in the 1800s, and I suddenly look at the clock and think in a panic, why am I here? What was I supposed to be doing?
It is a textbook dopamine loop.
It's terrifying.
Your brain prefers the instant low-effort reward of novel information, like the article about typewriters, over the high-effort delayed reward of auditing a spreadsheet.
So I literally allowed my attention to be taken up by entirely irrelevant stimuli.
You did. But there is another kind of distraction that is external, human, and much harder to ignore.
The colleague who suddenly appears at your desk.
Yes. The dreaded, hey, do you have a quick question? Interrupter.
And handling this requires a very specific, sophisticated linguistic skill, right? Setting polite boundaries.
You cannot just bark at them, go away, I am busy.
I mean, you want to. If you look at someone's face when they are deep in thought and get interrupted, they look furious.
Oh, the glare is real. But verbally, you have to maintain office diplomacy.
You do. So let's set up a role play to give our listeners a highly practical conversational tool for this exact stressful situation.
Sounds good. Let's pretend you are deep in concentration, managing a heavy workload, and I am the colleague who interrupts you.
And to make it authentic, let's include that classic office small talk people use to soften the interruption.
Perfect. Ready?
Ready. I am staring intently at my monitor, typing aggressively.
Hey, sorry to bother you. Crazy weather out there today, right? Is it still pouring rain?
Oh, hi. Yeah, it's absolutely coming down out there. I got stoked walking in.
The worst. Anyway, I just have a really quick question about the Q3 marketing report numbers. Do you have a second to look at this?
I am actually right in the middle of this data analysis. I can help you after I finish this.
And let's freeze the scene right there. That was great. Let's break down the pragmatics of your response.
I can help you after I finish this.
Exactly. Why is this the perfect boundary-setting sentence?
Because it accomplishes 3 essential things simultaneously. First, it acknowledges the person and the social contract. I engaged with the weather small talk. I didn't just ignore you.
Right, you were human.
Second, it explicitly offers help, which proves I am a collaborative, supportive team player.
Crucial in an office environment.
But third, and absolutely most importantly, it ruthlessly protects my current focus. Notice I didn't say when I would finish my analysis.
That's the key. You didn't promise in 10 minutes.
Exactly, I just said after I finish this.
It is entirely professional, but firmly boundaried. There is a massive difference in English pragmatics between being rude and being clear.
So true. Saying I can't help you feels like a rejection of the person.
But saying, I can help you after I finish this, is cooperative, but it dictates the timeline on your terms.
And if you fail to set these polite boundaries, your own workload just keeps growing.
Which means you end up staying at the office until 7 p.m., feeling exhausted, resentful, and constantly behind schedule.
Let's practice that boundary phrase, because knowing how to say no politely is a corporate superpower.
Listeners, try it with us.
Say it out loud, matching my polite but firm tone. Ready? I can help you after I finish this. Let's do it one more time. Own the boundary. I can help you after I finish this.
Excellent. Now, if you do not master that phrase, your self-interruptions and colleague interruptions will push your core tasks further and further back into the week.
And that avoidance leads us directly to the most universally stressful word in the entire corporate dictionary.
Oh, I know exactly what word you mean. It's the word that causes a collective spike in blood pressure across the entire office.
Deadlines.
Deadline.
It literally contains the word dead. It's inherently ominous.
Let's define it clearly for our B2 context and fix a major translation error. A deadline is the specific, non-negotiable time or date when a project, report, or task absolutely must be finished and submitted.
Right, and many learners, translating the concept directly from their native tongue, will use very literal, slightly awkward phrasing.
Like what?
They might say, the last date for the project is tomorrow, or the finish time is Friday.
I hear last date all the time. What is the last date for this? And again, communication is achieved. Everyone knows what you mean.
But it instantly marks you as someone translating in their head.
To achieve that natural, native fluency, you must adopt the word deadline. You would say the deadline is coming up or the deadline is tomorrow.
What genuinely fascinates me about deadlines is the psychological illusion they create.
How do you mean?
Well, a massive task can feel perfectly calm, friendly even, for 3 solid weeks. You look at it on your workload list and think, yes, the quarterly financial audit. I have plenty of time. We are old friends, this audit and I.
And then the calendar flips.
Yes. The deadline is tomorrow morning. Suddenly, the task is no longer friendly. It is a terrifying, fire-breathing monster standing on your desk, demanding immediate action.
This abrupt shift in reality brings us to a wonderful, highly descriptive piece of English humor.
Oh, I love this one.
When someone actively avoids a task until the last possible second, knowing the deadline is approaching, how do they usually describe their behavior?
Well, the clinical honest word is procrastination. But the much funnier, self-deceptive phrase is claiming that you waited creatively.
Waited creatively. It's a fantastic example of using language to soften and justify a negative behavior.
You aren't being lazy or disorganized. You are waiting creatively for a burst of genius inspiration to strike at the 11th hour.
It's an excuse wrapped up in a compliment to yourself.
I'm not putting the audit off. I'm just letting my subconscious mind process the data in the background.
Sure you are.
And this pairs perfectly with a highly common English idiom that learners should absolutely add to their vocabulary. Famous last words. Famous last words. I love this idiom. You use this when someone says something with absolute arrogant confidence, but you know reality is about to aggressively prove them wrong.
Precisely. So if a colleague looks at a complex presentation that historically takes a full week to build,
and the deadline is in exactly 2 days.
Right, and they smile and say, don't worry, I have plenty of time.
Famous last words. Because you absolutely do not have time, and I'm going to watch you panic and drink 6 cups of coffee on Thursday night.
Exactly. But let's look at the mechanics behind this. Why do we delay? Are human beings just naturally lazy?
While laziness exists, it is rarely the actual root cause of chronic procrastination in a professional environment, is it?
No, it's not. The much more common, scientifically backed culprit is something called decision fatigue.
Decision fatigue. Let's break down why that happens.
Think about the microscopic anatomy of your workload. Every single email sitting in your inbox is not just a piece of text. It is a demand for a cognitive decision.
Do you approve this budget?
When can we schedule the vendor meeting?
Which graphic design option do you prefer?
Exactly. Every notification asks, what are you going to do about me? By 11:00 a.m., your prefrontal cortex has already made hundreds of micro decisions.
And the brain consumes massive amounts of glucose to make those decisions. So by noon, the decision-making engine is literally running out of fuel.
Which makes prioritizing incredibly difficult. When you have decision fatigue, you lose the cognitive ability to rank tasks logically.
So a minor typo in an internal memo suddenly feels just as disastrous as losing a major client. Everything feels equally important.
And that brings us to a crucial insight. Perhaps the single most important sentence to remember regarding time management and workplace sanity.
Yeah, Jess.
Everything feels important, but not everything is equally urgent.
That is profound. Everything feels important, but not everything is equally urgent.
Wow.
We confuse importance with urgency constantly.
Constantly.
Like an email from a colleague asking about a vacation schedule for next month is important. Sure, it needs an answer, but it is not urgent.
The client presentation due by 5:00 p.m. today is urgent.
Right. But when we are suffering from decision fatigue, our drained brains treat the vacation email and the client presentation with the exact same level of physiological panic.
Which is exactly why we procrastinate. The brain becomes completely overwhelmed by the perceived generalized urgency of everything.
So as a defense mechanism, it chooses to engage with nothing.
Or it engages with the easiest, most trivial task available, like reorganizing your desktop folders or cleaning your pen cup.
Because that provides a quick, false sense of accomplishment.
Exactly.
So how do we fight this biological defense mechanism? How do we stop waiting creatively? I heard a motivational phrase from a productivity coach once that completely rewired my brain regarding deadlines.
Oh, what is the phrase?
It's simply, future you deserves peace.
Future you deserves peace. That is a highly effective cognitive reframe.
It really is. When you force yourself to start a difficult task early, you are not doing it to please your manager. You're not doing it out of loyalty to the corporation.
You are performing an act of profound kindness for the version of yourself that will exist on Thursday morning.
Exactly. When Thursday Jake or Thursday Anna wakes up, they don't want to be in a state of high adrenaline terror. They deserve to drink their coffee in peace.
Starting the miserable audit on Monday is a beautiful gift I am giving to Thursday me.
I love personifying my future self like that. It creates actual empathy for my own well-being.
It separates the action from the immediate discomfort. But sometimes, despite your absolute best planning, despite prioritizing perfectly and protecting future you,
Something goes wrong.
a crucial, irreplaceable file completely vanishes into the digital ether right before the deadline. Who saves you then?
This transitions us perfectly into examining the human element. You can have the best time management systems in the world, you can beat decision fatigue, but work isn't an isolated vacuum of tasks.
It's a complex, living ecosystem of people.
And the primary inhabitants of that ecosystem are your colleagues.
Colleague. Let's tackle a very common, slightly awkward phrasing mistake learners make when trying to describe the people in this ecosystem.
Yes. Often, when translating the concept of someone you work alongside, learners will default to saying, my office friend.
For example, my office friend helped me install the new software.
Now, office friend is a lovely sentiment and perfectly understandable, but it lacks professional polish.
A colleague is simply someone you work with in a professional capacity.
They might happen to be your friend, but they also might be someone you barely know who works 3 floors down in the accounting department.
It's a broad professional term. So instead of office friend, you immediately elevate your English proficiency by saying, my colleague helped me.
And your colleagues are the single most powerful factor in dictating what organizational psychologists call workplace energy.
Workplace energy is incredibly tangible.
I've had days where I lost a critical presentation in the shared company cloud drives. You know the ones, there are vague folders inside of folders inside of folders.
Name terrible things like final version to do not dilatus zone.
The infamous digital black holes of corporate data management.
Exactly.
Right. I'm frantically searching. The search bar is just spinning. The deadline is in 45 minutes, and I start to feel a physical panic.
Your chest is tight. Your breathing gets shallow.
I am radiating chaotic, stressed energy. And then a colleague calmly rolls their chair over, looks at my screen, and casually says, oh, the Q3 data deck. Check the archived projects folder under 2024 subfolder marketing.
Boom.
The file is there. Problem solved in 6 seconds.
That colleague didn't just locate a file, they performed an act of emotional co-regulation.
What a great term.
They brought calm, grounded energy to a highly chaotic situation, effectively neutralizing your panic.
It demonstrates profound emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
The best colleagues aren't just technically proficient at their jobs. They know how to read the emotional temperature of the room.
There is a highly specific question that exemplifies this elite level of emotional intelligence in the workplace.
What is it?
When a brilliant colleague sees you staring blankly at your screen, clearly overwhelmed, they don't ask the standard, what's wrong?
Oh, because that question is actually burdensome. It forces the stressed person to expend more energy explaining their problem.
Exactly. Instead, a truly brilliant colleague asks, do you need help or do you just need 5 quiet minutes?
That question is a masterpiece of empathy. Do you need help or do you just need 5 quiet minutes?
It's so powerful.
Because sometimes I genuinely don't want you to take the task away from me. I don't need you to fix it. I just need you to acknowledge that my cognitive load is currently maxed out.
And grant you the grace of silence so you can process your decision fatigue.
Work is profoundly human. The people around you entirely dictate how the day feels.
But unfortunately, not all colleagues act as calming agents. Some colleagues operate as agents of pure chaos.
And their primary weapon of choice for disrupting the ecosystem.
Meetings.
The endless, soul-crushing, calendar-destroying barrage of meetings.
Let's explore the advanced language around this, because complaining about meetings is practically the universal language of the modern professional.
I have an analogy for meetings. I think meetings are exactly like spices in a culinary recipe.
Spices. Elaborate on that connection.
Think about making a large pot of soup. A little bit of salt, a dash of pepper, maybe some garlic. It enhances the soup.
It brings all the disparate ingredients together into a cohesive flavor.
Exactly. A well-placed, highly focused 15-minute meeting can solve a week's worth of confusing back-and-forth email chains. It's the perfect spice.
But what happens if you take the lid off the salt shaker and dump the entire jar into the pot?
You completely ruin the dish. It becomes toxic and inedible.
That's a great way to put it. Too many meetings ruin the fundamental purpose of the workday.
There is no time left to actually eat the soup, or in this case, execute the work you discussed in the meetings. You are just drowning in salt.
But what if your manager insists on this? What if the company culture wants you in all these meetings to prove you are involved?
That is a symptom of a culture that values visibility over actual output, which we will address in a moment.
But first, to express this too much spice feeling, B2 and C1 learners need to utilize advanced phrasal expressions.
Right, because saying, I had many meetings today is grammatically fine, but basic.
To express the true pain of the situation, you use the phrase, we had back-to-back meetings.
Back to back. This is such a visceral phrase. It means one meeting ends at exactly 10:00 a.m. and the next one starts at exactly 10:00 a.m.
There is zero buffer time.
You don't have time to use the restroom. You don't have time to get a glass of water. You certainly don't have time to process what was just discussed.
My Tuesday was brutal. I had back-to-back meetings all morning.
Another crucial advanced expression involves the phrasal verb take up. We mentioned this earlier regarding distractions taking up your attention.
You can apply the exact same mechanical logic to your schedule. You would say, my meetings took up most of my morning.
Take up is wonderfully visual. It implies consuming physical space.
If a massive grand piano takes up your entire living room, there's literally no room left for a sofa.
If back-to-back meetings take up your entire morning, there is absolutely no room left to tackle your heavy workload.
And this spatial reality brings us to a critical realization about modern work. When meetings take up all your time, you will undeniably feel incredibly busy.
You will feel exhausted.
But you definitely won't feel something else entirely.
Which introduces our next major concept. Redefining what it actually means to be productive and understanding the physiological reality of the dreaded afternoon slump.
Let's establish the core linguistic and conceptual difference right away. Being busy and being productive are not synonyms.
In many corporate environments, they are actually opposites.
Our keyword here is productive. Let's fix a clunky sentence. A learner might reflect on their day and say, I did many useful things today.
It's an okay sentence, but it lacks professional punch and authority.
To sound authoritative and fluent, you elevate the vocabulary. You say, I had a highly productive day.
The word productive fundamentally means you generated tangible value. You moved a core objective forward.
You can be incredibly busy sending 50 one-line emails, color-coding your digital calendar, organizing your desktop icon,
and chatting with colleagues on the messaging app. You were frantically busy for 8 straight hours.
But at 5:20 p.m., you look at your core workload, the actual tasks that impact the business, and realize you finished absolutely nothing of value.
You completely confused activity with progress.
Confusing activity with progress is the grand illusion of the modern office. Activity is just kinetic movement.
Running on a treadmill is activity. You sweat, you burn calories, but you stay in the exact same place.
Progress is actually walking toward a destination. And this illusion of progress becomes incredibly dangerous during a specific biological window we call the afternoon slump.
Oh, the afternoon slump usually hits like a truck right around 2:3 or 3:00 p.m.
It is a profound biological and psychological crash.
It is an unfair reality where your physical body is screaming, "We are done." The brain requires immediate sleep. But your digital calendar is cheerfully glowing, saying, "We have 2 more mandatory conference calls."
This is not a lack of willpower. It is a physiological inevitability. Your circadian rhythm naturally dips in the mid-afternoon.
Furthermore, if you ate a heavy lunch, your parasympathetic nervous system redirects massive amounts of blood and energy away from your brain and toward your digestive tract.
Your cognitive function literally drops. This is exactly why distractions become 10 times more powerful.
When your energy is peaking at 9:00 a.m., you can easily ignore a flashing phone notification.
But at 3:00 p.m., a single leaf falling slowly past the office window becomes a fascinating, mesmerizing event that takes up all your attention.
So what is the actionable strategy here? How do we beat this biological slump and actually remain productive rather than just faking busy activity?
Well, you have to...
Actually, I'll push back a little here. When I have a hard deadline at 4 p.m., stepping away from my desk feels completely irresponsible. How can I justify resting when the pressure is that high?
You justify it because staring blankly at a screen while cognitively depleted is the true irresponsibility.
That's a fair point.
You don't fight the biology, you work intelligently with it. The first, most effective tactic is the physical reset, a short 5-minute physical walk completely away from the digital screen.
I do try to implement this. I deliberately leave my phone on the desk, I walk to the kitchen, get a glass of cold water, maybe look out a different window.
It doesn't magically solve all your life's complex problems.
But it forces a break in the screen-induced trance. I return to my desk as a slightly more capable, slightly better person.
And sometimes being a slightly better person is all the edge you need to finish the day.
The second tactic is a psychological trick regarding task management. When you return to your desk after lunch, facing the slump, do not look at your master workload list of 20 items.
Do not write down 5 ambitious tasks to accomplish in the afternoon.
Wait, why not? Shouldn't I try to be ambitious to overcome the lethargy?
Because ambition requires high energy. Writing down 5 complex tasks when your brain is already entering a low-energy slump will induce immediate exhaustion before you even type a single word.
It triggers massive decision fatigue.
Instead, write down exactly 1 clear, highly specific task on a physical sticky note. Just one single thing.
The profound power of the small win. I love this concept.
It works so well.
If the one single task on the sticky note is send the client update email, and I force myself to do it, my brain receives a highly targeted hit of dopamine.
You achieved a win.
A sent email, a clean desk, finally canceling a recurring meeting that lost its value months ago. These small wins generate the psychological momentum required to survive the slump.
Precisely. Forward momentum is the only known antidote to the biological slump.
But once you have secured that small win, pushed through the afternoon, and finally dragged yourself to the end of your scheduled working hours, a completely new psychological problem arises.
Yes. Once you've secured that win, how do you successfully turn your brain off so a lingering work problem doesn't completely destroy your personal evening?
The answer lies in our final and perhaps most vital vocabulary phrase of the day.
The essential art of wrapping up.
Closing the physical lid of the laptop does not mean the brain's internal machinery stops working.
The laptop clicks shut, but the cognitive tabs are still wide open, draining your mental battery in the background.
This is not just a metaphor. It is a thoroughly documented psychological phenomena known as the Zeigarnik effect.
The Zeigarnik effect. We need to explore this because understanding it changes everything about how you leave the office.
It's a fascinating piece of history. In the 1920s, a psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik was sitting in a busy cafe in Europe.
She observed that the waiters had incredible memories. They could remember complex, massive orders for large tables without writing anything down.
But the very second the bill was paid and the transaction was complete, the waiters instantly forgot the entire order.
If you asked them what a table ordered 5 minutes after they paid, they had no idea.
That is wild. The brain holds onto the data with an iron grip until the task is complete and then immediately deletes it to save space.
Exactly. Zeigarnik proved that the human brain remembers uncompleted or interrupted tasks significantly better than completed tasks.
The brain fundamentally hates open loops. It craves closure.
If a task is unfinished, the subconscious mind keeps pinging you, reminding you about it, consuming your mental RAM.
And without achieving that closure, you experience the classic evening-ruining scenario. You are sitting on your comfortable couch at 8:00 p.m. trying to watch a relaxing movie with your family.
But your brain is aggressively overanalyzing a vague message your manager sent at 4:55 p.m. that just said, let's discuss tomorrow.
3 of the most terrifying words in the English language. Let's discuss tomorrow.
It's awful because it's an open loop.
Are you getting fired? Are you getting a surprise promotion? Did you accidentally delete the entire project archive?
Your brain, desperately seeking to close the loop, fills the void with the most catastrophic, worst-case scenarios imaginable.
This is exactly why professionals must master both the vocabulary and the physical practice of our final B2 phrasal verb, wrap up.
Wrap up. To wrap something physically means to cover it entirely, like wrapping a birthday gift in paper.
When you wrap up your work, you are metaphorically putting a neat bow on it. You are concluding it properly.
Let's correct a very funny, very literal translation mistake learners make here. Sometimes a learner will proudly announce to their colleagues, I finished my office today at 5 p.m.
Which sounds incredibly impressive, like you were out in the parking lot building a literal office structure out of bricks and mortar, and you finally put the roof on. I finished the office. The building is complete.
Exactly. Or they might say, I closed my work. While understandable, it lacks natural flow.
To sound perfectly fluent, you say, I wrapped up my work for the day.
But let's look closely at the psychology of a truly effective wrap-up, because we need to be realistic. Wrapping up does not mean finishing everything on your workload list.
No, finishing everything is usually mathematically impossible in modern knowledge work, which is exactly why the Zeigarnik effect tortures us so effectively.
An effective wrap-up routine is about tricking the brain. It is about closing the open loops artificially.
It means dedicating the final 10 minutes of your workday, not to starting new tasks, but to reviewing your list and, crucially, leaving a highly specific note for your tomorrow self.
Yes, a physical note that says, stop working here, tomorrow morning, continue analyzing column D on the Q3 spreadsheet.
By physically writing that down, you are communicating with your subconscious. You are telling your brain, I have securely captured this information. The loop is paused.
You do not need to actively hold on to it in my working memory anymore.
You are successfully transferring the burden of memory from your biological brain to the physical paper.
Relying on a mental system of remember everything and suffer is a deeply flawed, unsustainable strategy.
Remember everything and suffer. That should be printed on a t-shirt for every modern corporate worker. We have to stop doing that to ourselves.
Writing it down is the ultimate wrap-up.
And this realization leads us to a much broader, necessary discussion about redefining what constitutes an ideal day. Because corporate culture often brainwashes us into thinking a good day means achieving 100% productivity, experiencing 0 distractions, and completing the entire workload.
Which is an absolute fantasy. It sets an impossible robotic standard that guarantees daily disappointment.
What actually makes a good workday for a human being?
Honestly, when I reflect on it, sometimes a genuinely good day is just a quiet morning where I can sip my coffee while it's actually still hot.
It's executing one single piece of meaningful work without feeling completely cognitively drained by 5 p.m.
It's a day where maybe someone brings a box of fresh pastries into the break room, and we all stand around for 10 minutes to boost office morale.
Office morale is heavily dependent on those small, seemingly unproductive human moments.
It's the shared camaraderie. It's the collective bonding over complaining about the back-to-back meetings.
That human connection is vital for long-term sustainability.
And I think the most important liberating realization we can offer our listeners today is this. Not every single day needs to be amazing.
That is a profoundly healthy, liberating thought.
It is perfectly fine to have a messy day. It is totally fine to have a long, chaotic day where you got hopelessly distracted by a Wikipedia article about 19th century typewriters.
It is perfectly fine to have a day that is just okay. If a friend asks, how was work? You don't have to put on a fake smile and pretend you conquered the universe.
You can just use your new vocabulary and say, It was a bit of a heavy workload today. I got a little distracted in the afternoon slump, but I wrapped things up, left a note for tomorrow, and I'm just really glad to be home.
That is real, authentic, fluent English conversation.
Absolutely. Authenticity and accuracy in your language are far more engaging and relatable than forced toxic positivity.
Okay, we have covered a truly massive amount of linguistic and psychological ground today. Let's do a comprehensive recap of the 6 key workplace words and phrases you just learned to permanently upgrade your English fluency.
First, we explored the concept of your workload. Remember, work is uncountable, so you carry a heavy workload, you never have many works.
Second was distracted, specifically the internal self-interruption when irrelevant stimuli take up your attention.
Third, we tackled the dreaded deadline, the absolute time something must be finished, completely replacing the awkward translation of last date.
Fourth was the professional ecosystem, your colleague, the polished appropriate term to replace office friend.
Fifth, we redefined what it means to be productive, meaning you actually created tangible value, rather than just faking progress by being busy.
And finally, our crucial phrasal verb, wrap up, the act of artificially closing the open loops in your brain to defeat the Zeigarnik effect and reclaim your evening.
Now, we want to hear directly from you. We want you to actively engage with this material to lock it into your memory right now.
Go down to the comments section and tell us, what was your absolute favorite keyword or idiom from today's session?
Was it famous last words? Was it waiting creatively? Write your answer in the comments.
And to prove that you are fiercely dedicated to learning and that you made it to the very end of this deep dive, we want you to type the exact phrase, "I am consistent," in the comment box.
Type, "I am consistent," so we can see exactly who the real dedicated language learners are.
Also, we build these deep dives specifically for your needs, so we need your direct feedback. What kind of workplace or daily life topic do you want us to explore in the next session? Leave your suggestions below.
And as promised at the beginning of the show, a quick bonus language tip regarding our final phrase, wrap up. It isn't restricted just to the office.
You can deploy this versatile phrasal verb in almost any social situation to politely indicate you are ready to leave.
Yes, this is a lifesaver. If you are at a dinner party or a networking event that has dragged on a little too long, you can lean over to your partner or colleague and quietly whisper, "Hey, let's wrap up this dinner so we can go home."
It's casual, it's completely natural, and it is highly effective at signaling a transition. Now, if you like this deep dive and you want to keep accelerating your progress, I want you to go down to the description box right now.
I have provided a special link down there. If you click it and subscribe just once, you will receive totally free, high-quality English learning articles sent directly to your email inbox every single time we publish.
It is an amazing free resource to keep your reading comprehension as sharp as your listening skills.
And if you genuinely enjoyed this session, there are many more English conversation deep dives just like this one available right now on our channel.
Go check them out and binge watch or binge listen to your favorites to keep leveling up your speaking, your listening, and your confidence.
We want you entirely immersing yourself in the language. The more you listen to the natural rhythms, the more naturally you will speak.
To close our time together today, I want to leave you with something to deeply ponder. Something that builds on what we've discussed regarding the intense biological and psychological pressures of the modern workday.
Think about your absolute worst day at work last week, the day you felt completely unmotivated, drained, and useless.
Is it possible that your distracted, unproductive afternoon wasn't actually a moral failure or a lack of willpower at all, but rather just your incredibly smart biological brain successfully demanding the rest it absolutely needed to avoid total catastrophic burnout?